All right, so Marvel Rivals is probably one of the biggest games out right now. It's getting huge number. It's doing huge numbers on Steam. It's doing huge numbers on PlayStation. It's free to play. They call it the. It's not the Apex kill. It is an Apex Predator for sure, but it's literally dissolved a bunch of other looter shooter type games that has come before it, and it's really set the standard. And a lot of people tried to give credit to the fact that it was with Marvel characters, and I could definitely see how Marvel, one of the biggest movie and comic book and TV show franchise out right now, could motivate the gaming industry. But it's, to my surprise, I'm utterly shocked at the fact that people didn't see this coming from a mile away. This isn't weird. This is the gaming company and the gaming studios, and this is what they do. This is how they function. This is capitalism. So let's talk about it. Clap it. Yeah. 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 It's capitalism, baby. You like it, I love it. We want some more of it. How you guys doing? My name is Hero. This is Coding with Strangers, and I really enjoyed watching Captain America and Brave New World. Really good movie. Not as good as The Winter Soldier. Not supposed to be. I don't think so. But the premise, the action sequence, and it was good. It's definitely better than the original Captain America. I'd rank it like, how many of them been? Captain America 1, The Winter Soldier, Civil War. I think, yeah, Civil War is considered to be one of the movies. And then this. So it's number 3 on the list. Not bad. Good opening box office. Go check it out. But today we want to talk about Marvel Rivals. And while I've never played this game, it's not really my genre. Over-the-shoulder shooter game mechanics, not really my forte. I'm more of a first-person shooter, Call of Duty. I saw this news on Reddit and Twitter, and a lot of people have been talking about it. But to me, it's more interesting why people are surprised by it, right? So let's figure out what's going on, and maybe I can shed some light on some things that a lot of people aren't aware of when it comes to the gaming industry. This is such a weird industry. Marvel Rivals, Layoffs, NA-based. What is that? NA-based? NA-based team aimed explosive success. Marvel Rival is easily one of the most popular games this year, drawing hundreds of thousands of players on Steam alone, and yet the developer, NetEase, NA, is that okay, I get it, had laid off a team who worked on the game out of the Seattle-based studio. Game director Thaddeus Sasser, that's a great name, Thaddeus Sasser. God, what an awesome what a great name. Shit. On LinkedIn about a post to layoff, which specifically mentioned the level designer Greg McGee as one of the affected developers, and level designers Jack Borrow corroborated the news with his own post. This is such a weird industry, Sasser wrote. My stellar, talented team would just helped deliver an incredible, successful new franchise in Marvel Rivals for NetEase Games, and were just laid off. Damn. Kudos to this boss, Mr. Sasser, sticking up and standing up for his employees. You love to see this. It's literally giving them a springboard to jump off from this situation into another, and hopefully maybe get a call back. So that's the best form of recommendation you can get, a public notification of how good you are. According to Sasser, the team focused on coming up with new level designs, mechanics, gameplays, mechanisms, so on for the superhero shooter. Polygon has asked NetEase for comment on the layoffs and will update this post when we hear back. Yeah, I want you guys to pay attention. According to Sasser, coming up with new level designs, mechanics, gameplay, mechanisms, and so on. I'm gonna tell you guys a dark secret. Marvel Rivals is one of the top 5 games with the most active users across PlayStation 5, Xbox Series X, and Steam, according to I don't know what the fuck that is, Assyria data from the industry analyst Matt Pasacatelli. Talia. It also held one of the top 5 spots for the most played games on Steam, regularly hovering around 200,000 concurrent players. Later this week, it will enter the second half of the first season and introduce 2 new heroes to the roster, the Thing and the Human Torch. Great timing. Trailer of the Fantastic Four movie hops. Looking at some of the comments, you'll see a trend here. Right? Looking at some of the comments, you'll see a trend here. And you see people, I have to admit that this is weird, wild, that even the gaming, I don't know what's going on in Marvel Rivals, but it seems as to me that someone is cutting their losses. That's exactly what it is. Some people are innately aware of this. It's too early to tell the reasoning. No, it's not. It's completely reasonable. Another possibility is the side effect from ongoing trade wars with the U.S. and China. The people when faced with the harsh reality of their own capitalism, won't be able to take in the stand. So these people are clearly wrong. Let's talk about some of the things that can incorporate into this. Remember, I said that we want to pay attention to the level designs and upcoming. You want to know what it is? You've made this team out in Seattle has made levels and designs and characteristics. Guess what? You've made enough to meet the quota for the year. This game has made enough money for the quota of the year, and you guys are now what we call an expenditure in the grand scheme of things. One look at this article in 2025. This is from January 9th. Marvel Rivals first month revenue estimated at $136 million, including $36 million in China. Make no mistake about it, this is great money for the first month. With the assumption that it was over 200,000 peak concurrent players, right? Now, let's say that number continues to decrease as the game burns out. Let's say it loses half, and that means they're going to lose half of this, or even more than half of this. To be paying a team all year round, even though they'll no matter what they produce, no matter how much of it they produce, their numbers will eventually hover. And let's just say they have a strong concurrent of 100,000 ongoing, which would be half of this. You can assume that it costs $100 million to lease. $100 million, I think, is generous. The game probably cost $100 million to make. Another $150 million to lease all the characters. But ultimately, it's a free-to-play game. So, like, going into the specs of it, we know, like, how much these characters might cost. Nearly $50 to $200 million is an easy assertion to make. But given the fact that the characters could cost anywhere from $50 to $200 million to rent, they're making $136 million a month. They cut that in half after 6 months. After you've made enough to meet your quota for enough uploads for the year, it's time to cut your losses, because whether you like it or not, there's a group of people who will play this game and never spend money. And the ultimate goal of this game is to get a few people to spend a lot of money. People who will buy all the costumes, who will buy all the cosmetics, who will buy the game pass, the month pass. Those are the ones you're looking for. Those are the ones you're going to get. They're called the whales. They're the reason why pre-orders never die, because they are the ones that spend the money. They're not worried about people like me who will never spend any money on any of these games. Same thing with Warzone, all of that stuff. I never spend money on those games because inherently I don't care about the cosmetics or anything like that. And if the game has inherent like pay to win mechanics, I'm definitely not paying it. So they have a ceiling. They know what their ceiling is as far as making money. And once they've reached that ceiling, or they have accountants and business specific people in their organization to calculate this. So once they know that the team that they hired has already made all of the stuff they need to make that quota, you can lay these people off. They're not a necessity. They're not necessary to the game. And guess what? If something breaks, game breaking, which is highly unlikely because they test everything they make, they test it all, they put it through the ringer to make sure that it works. They're not worried about it breaking down. But let's say something does break down, they'll hire a contractor to come in, look at it, and fix it. Or they'll call you back on a contract and hire you to fix it. The gaming industry is a consequence of capitalism. And the consequence is we have whales in our organization. Whales who will pay to have the cosmetics, the aesthetics, but won't pay for the longevity of it. Another thing that the gaming industry has failed to do successfully is unionize. It's time for the gaming studios to unionize. When you have a game as big as Marvel Rivals losing employees mid-stroke, that's when you got to apologize to your girl. Like, I'm sorry, this doesn't happen all the time. But in fact, it does. There's no game out there that can just sustain this. Even Call of Duty, as much money as they made, they let go of hundreds of artists and designers to substitute for AI art, and it looks bad. It looks so bad. The emblems and the awards is cheesy. It just looks bad. So this is the consequence of capitalism. This is the consequence of greed, excess, and it's time for the gaming market. I will go a year. I'll say this out loud, because I got games in my backlog. I will go a year without a single new game, including Grand Theft Auto 6. Take it from me. I will go a year without playing a new game, without a new game being released, without a new game being made, until a union has been formed to protect gaming studio personnel, the frontline workers in the gaming network. And if you, as a person, hear that and say, chagrin, no, what the fuck, no, hell no, I want my game now, give me my Pop-Tarts and chicken nuggies now, then you're part of the problem. To great sacrifice comes greatness that is owed. And these workers, based on just their supervisor or boss's word, have done amazing work, and it's been proven itself in painstaking dollars and sweats and tears. And nobody's ever going to do that. You can't cash in people's sweat and tears. You can't cash them in, at least, but the person who's making you do it can, for sure. So this is an extremely sad story, but it's frustrating, it's annoying, it's aggravating. But the most important thing that you got to remember is nothing will change. So people's material circumstances will not change until we apply pressure. But to sit here and say that this is some wild, crazy, obscure, weird situation, no, this is capitalism. And no game, no matter how big, is safe from it. But that's just my thoughts on it.